I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Thank you to this week's sponsor, SBA Complete.
Is your financial institution considering SBA lending? Maybe you need to improve your current SBA line of business. We're SBA Complete, the most experienced SBA lender service provider in the country. Executing an SBA loan program can be complex and difficult to navigate without an experienced and knowledgeable team. But most financial institutions cannot find the right talent or afford to bring the expertise in-house. That's why lenders across the country choose SBA Complete.
As you know, we have a format established, and we always try to have a nice borrower story at the end of the podcast. Don't click out. Be sure and view the whole podcast. You're going to love the story of Mia Davis and Mikko Sushi. But that's, of course, later in the program. But hey, we're going to start with workouts. Lance Sexton did a great webinar on deferments, loan modifications, and workouts. Here's his definition of a loan workout.
We're going to start out by talking about SBA loan workouts. And I want to be honest with you, as we talk about the SOP, there are several places where it does emphasize that it's a duty of us as participant banks to find ways for the small business lender to repay the loan. And I, guys, have had a tremendous level of experience in liquidation of SBA loans, both when I was with Deloitte working on bank closings and liquidating SBA loans that were related to that, as well as deputy director at SBA in the servicing and liquidation department. And a workout is a much better alternative than going through liquidation, especially a workout that's properly crafted, and you do end up with a borrower that gets back on track and back into regular servicing, because the ultimate objective is for the loan to be repaid. In almost every circumstance, when you go through a liquidation on an SBA loan, there's a shortfall. So to maximize recovery, a workout is the best plan. Workout is a debt collection and negotiation process. And when we talk about negotiation, that's important to note that workout plan takes cooperation both from the participant bank and from the borrower. It's an opportunity for a problem borrower and their participant bank to come up with a plan to resolve the issues and get them back in to performing status. Almost all workout plans include a variety of servicing actions. Many of those servicing actions are modification of the terms of the loan to give the borrower a little breathing room and an opportunity to avoid foreclosure if real estate is involved, or business closure. Again, the SOP 5057-2 states in a number of areas that as participant banks, we need to find a way to aid in the orderly repayment.
Continuing with Lance and workouts, the feasibility test. Listen to this real-world common sense test, feasibility test on when do you do a workout for a struggling SBA loan borrower.
You want to ask certain questions about the small business borrower. Are they competent? Do they have the necessary management skills? When you did the SBA loan, you collected a resume. You probably collected a business plan that talked about their background and skill sets. Now you have a track record that you can look at, and you need to determine and make a real hard assessment. Does our borrower have the necessary skills to be successful at the workout plan? I had a small business that I put into a workout plan. It was a restaurant, and the individual who owned the restaurant had tremendous skills at producing great food and great service, but they really struggled with financial management. And part of the workout plan consisted of that borrower connecting with a local CPA to help them understand the numbers behind the business. Other question, are they cooperative? Are they willing to take advice, or are they hard-headed and say, are they telling you, we've done it this way for 10 years, we're going to continue doing the same thing? Or are they willing to take advice and consider new ways of operating their small business? Are they willing to consider possible ways of expense saving, that are necessary for a workout agreement to be successful. Are they acting in good faith? And this question centers around, quite often when you get to the point of a workout, you've got a willing, active borrower who wants to find a way to make it work, or you could have a borrower who's looking for a way just to extend the inevitable. So of the business closure, and they may just be looking for an opportunity to extend the life of the business so they can pull more money out of it. And then when you get in a liquidation circumstance, your net recoverable value will be decreased. Also, are they financially viable? Again, we want to look at their current financial statement and their most recent annual financial statement and evaluate the cash flow and make sure that with the changes in terms that you implement as part of the workout that they can in fact service that debt.
SBA's issued the new 159 telling the lender what fees have to be disclosed to the borrower and what fees that can be charged. Here's a great question from our Coleman Report live session about how to disclose or when to disclose LSP fees. Hey, by the way, the Coleman Report Live is available to the entire industry every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Go to our website. You can click on it. Lasts about 20-25 minutes.
Becky asked a great question with lender service providers, Lance, and this is another whole nother hour we can go. But in the past, the lender did not complete the 159 because our fee was not being paid by the business. I am not sure if I continue to practice because the new one Form 59 seems to contradict itself. Lance, what do you recommend when we have a loan service provider helping us out with the packaging function?
Well, the LSP, the fees they charge the bank do not have to be reported. It's very clear in the SOP 5010-5J they do not have to be reported. Probably the most important element is there does not need to be the appearance, or the bank cannot pass the fee paid to the LSP by the participant bank on to the borrower. So you need no, I say appearance. There needs to be no possibility that the SBA would look and say, oh, well, they paid the LSP $4,000 for this and there's a $4,000 packaging fee.
Right. Same thing with the BDO. We pay the BDO commission. They're on the payroll. That does not have to be disclosed. The SBA is very particular of what needs to be disclosed on that form. And again, what SBA is going to focus on, and I would encourage you all when you come up with your policies, is what are the fees being paid by the borrower. Any fee paid by the borrower needs to be fully analyzed and fully disclosed.
There are a number of service providers that get involved in the SBA loan underwriting and closing that do not have to be reported on the SBA Form 159, and the LSP is certainly one of those.
As promised, Mia Davis, Mikko Sushi, a borrower from CDC Small Business Finance out of San Diego. What a great, great story. She started as a server in the restaurant industry, and now she bought her own building through an SBA 504 loan. Passionate about quality, passionate about her employees, passionate about creating jobs. You're going to enjoy this clip.
My philosophy with our restaurant is that I like to serve good quality fish and good quality meal at fair price to customers. I'm a firm believer in that people work hard for their money, and when they come to my restaurant, they spend. I always tell my customers I use the same quality of fish as a lot of expensive restaurants at lower price, and that is another reason why we're doing so well, and that is another reason why a lot of customers are able to come back on a weekly basis, because we're affordable. And people who understand fish, they come to our restaurant. And after owning a small restaurant in Oceanside for almost 10 years, my friend bought another restaurant. And I thought to myself, if she could do it, I could do it. Mm-hmm. And then I started looking for a restaurant to buy, and then I located Mikko Sushi, which I used to work as a server while I was going through school. And I bought that restaurant. It was difficult in the beginning because when I took over, the restaurant was not doing well. It had bad reputation. So I was debating whether I should keep the name or I should change the name. So, but Mikko has lots of history in Carlsbad. So I decided to keep the name instead of, used to call Mikko Japanese cuisine, and I changed to Mikko Sushi. And 3 years ago, I was able to open one in Carlsbad, and it took off, and it's really successful. And I decided to open another one. And when this building came along, I thought, you know what? I could not buy the building, and I got denied by a lot of banks. And somehow I was able to find Mary online, and when I talked to her, she gave me a lot of hope. I'm thankful that government has this type of program, SBA loan, and not many people know about this type of loan. When I tell people how I bought the building and I was able to get a loan to open this place, they were just like surprised. And I believe American dream. To me, this is American dream, and without this type of loan, I won't be where I am right now, sitting here interviewing you and talking about my successful restaurant business. So I'm really, really thankful and happy. Because of this loan, I hired over 20 people here, local people, and the 20-some people that did not have a job, now they have jobs, right? And I know the purpose of SBA loan is to create jobs, and I am a firm believer in that. Firm believer that small businesses are the backbone of America's economy. And by opening up this one, over 20 people have make a living. And I think if we can continue to do that, then our economy will stay strong. People will always have jobs, right?
Friend Pam Scott of Radar Lender Services tells us what she does for the SBA lending industry. I've told you before, I love my gig. Ran into Pam Scott. I've known her for years. Congratulations. New state, new position, yes. Radar Lender Services. What do you do?
Well, Radar Lender Services is a lender service provider. We're a national lender service provider. I work for Radar. I actually have a dual role. I do the compliance review work for them, for their closings, and then I also work the trade shows to get more lenders and banks to get into the SBA program and use us for their back office.
There's someone who's viewing this who doesn't know what a lender service provider does, so give me LSP 101.
LSP 101 is, so SBA, I would say probably about 10 years ago, they started to form these LSPs. And what it is folks that have been doing SBA lending for a long time and have expertise in credit closing and servicing. And what we do is we go to these banks that maybe want to start the SBA program or need to supplement their staff, and they don't want to hire someone, and they can outsource it to a lender service provider and save headcount. And the good thing about a lender service provider is that we already have a process down. We have staff that's experienced, and we're doing it right already. And so that's a big advantage for someone getting into the SBA program.
It's a la carte service.
It is.
Choose
underwriting, packaging, closing, servicing, or the whole thing.
Yeah, purchase demand kits, something. Yeah. Pam, as always, great to see you.
Great
Congratulations
to see you.
for going to Florida.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
All right.
Thank you for joining us today for the Coleman Report update and supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.